Let's throw our hands in the air as we soar through the sky.
Yatta!
We'll catch the sun with your hand in mine, and if we work as a team, everything will be fine.
Yeah!
Oh, it's Cure of the What Now?
Let's henshin and start the show.
Hello, fellow PreCure full of Tropica shine, and welcome to another episode of Cure of the What Now, the only show where we fight to get riches.
Incredible. You're just swinging out here. You're like, you know what? Let's just have swearing in the first minute. Now that we're on YouTube, that's the winning
Oh
formula.
no, we're on YouTube. You're gonna have to bleep that out. I'm your host, Kat, ghost of the show, longtime fan of PreCure, and a mermaid with a funny face.
Related to a dugong, perhaps. More closely related to a dugong than other mermaid families.
Absolutely. And who are you?
I'm your co-host, Joel, and also, I believe in my cuteness today. You know, it's okay that I'm the only one who picked a purple flower in kindergarten when everyone else picked pink. So mundane.
I mean, you thought purple was cuter, and that's valid.
Excuse me, I said purple. That's the type of flower that I picked.
Oh, did you go to a Montessori school?
What? What is that? Is that a state in the United States?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So before we get into the episode, we have a quick announcement. Yeah. Joel, as keeper of the Patreon, would you like to explain what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of our listeners who are not familiar with our other show, King of the What Now, maybe check it out if you want. But more importantly, every month we come out with a bonus episode about anything that we want. We've covered different anime movies. We covered Kingdom Hearts very briefly. Not actually the gameplay, but like a what-if scenario related to it. We've covered movies, all these other things. And eventually we decided that we loved these bonus episodes that are available for all of our $10 and up patrons. We loved working on them, but it was kind of a shame that not as many people got to listen to them because it was kind of gatekept behind that. So we came up with a compromise. Not all of our bonus episodes will be available for free, but once every quarter after March, and then whatever the 6th month is, June, I think, and then maybe September is number 9, I don't know. But we release one of the previous 3 bonus episodes on the live feed. And to tie into Cure of the What Now, Kya, we have decided that the next bonus episode we're going to release will be that Heart Catch episode that we've already talked about previously on mic. So April 1st, it'll be coming to both the Libsyn stream, which, you know, means like Spotify and iTunes and all that other stuff, and as well as a iTunes upload. Also, just for a really quick rundown, all of our $5 and up patrons get access to bonus features, which means that before we start recording these episodes, we do a quick mic test on something related to either PreCure or a One Piece, typically. And then if we ever cut anything from the main episode because someone flubbed their line, usually me, or if we make a joke that's, you know, we don't think that that's necessarily on topic, that all goes into an extra MP3 file that you can get by supporting us, if you want.
And some of that stuff is really funny. Like, it's really dumb, but it's really funny.
Oh yeah, we excel at being dumb. Like, that's kind of our energy.
Would you say that we've kind of got those Manatsu vibes?
I guess you could say that, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, totally check us out on Patreon if you like our content. We would love your support, and the more patrons we get, the more content we can offer via Patreon. Like, I've been wanting to do a Sticker of the Month club for the podcast for years now. We've been doing this podcast for 3 years, and I haven't done it because there's not enough coming through the podcast to justify the time spent on it. So that's the kind of thing that we can look forward to. Moving on to our lead-in discussion for the week. Joel, you wrote this question, and you asked, what kind of crossover would I like to see?
Well, no, hang on. I thought you were going to ask me to say it on mic. That's just like the abbreviated version of it.
Oh, okay.
There's a slightly longer version of this.
Okay, go for it.
So, ever since, like, I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd season of PreCure, they have started doing all-star movies where a bunch of different franchises and seasons cross over with each other. But I feel that these movies are mostly just fan service, and you don't really get a lot of time with each of the individual characters. Maybe you get like one cool scene for each of the PreCures. So my question is, if you could pitch your own crossover, like a feature-length movie, a PreCure feature-length, not Lord of the Rings length, movie that was a crossover that actually focused more closely on any two, or maybe a small group of characters from different seasons, who would you kind of put together, and maybe what might be the plot of this crossover?
Okay, I like this. So I feel like you can kind of divide PreCure into distinct generations. You've got your old school, classic PreCure. You've got kind of middle PreCure that I would say ended with Princess or Witchy, somewhere around there. And then you've got kind of the new generation of PreCure, which I would say started with Cure PreCure a la mode and stretches to Tropical Rouge. So I would want to take one team from kind of each of those, and then I'd want to mix up their members.
Okay.
So that they need to figure out how to work together to find their friends again. Maybe what you do is you take all the pinks, right? From these different, and I'm counting Cure Black as a pink, even though...
Like the main Cure is what you're saying, essentially.
Yeah. You take the team leader character, and they have to work together, and maybe their friends have been infected by the monster of the week goo, and they have to fight them and bring them back to the side of good. I think that would be cool.
Okay. I like that a lot. That does, on a 50,000 foot view, feel a lot like the Star Twinkle Hugto Kira movie that we watched with good buddy Trey from the Full Spectrum podcast.
You know why it might sound like that?
Why's that?
That's not actually what happened in that movie, but you asked me this question when we reviewed that movie, and that was the identical pitch that I gave.
No, because in that movie, they get separated. You had as we called it, Lesbian Island, with the three different pairs of characters, and then you had another group that was separated that was whatever. But what you're saying is that you would kind of take maybe that formula, maybe make it a little bit better, because we didn't have the highest opinion of that movie, but you're not grabbing the three latest seasons. You're grabbing one from each of these kind of eras that you've kind of outlined.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Also, I think it would be cool to have the newest Cure, like, actually learn stuff from the older pinks.
Yes. The problem with the PreCure movies as I see it, and I did not expect to have this discussion now, but it feels like they almost never interact with the main story in any way, because I assume the animators, the producers, assume that not everyone will go see the movie, but I would love a movie that has a more substantial impact on the plot. Or maybe you could do a full-length movie that's like after the end of the series, that's like 10 years later they get their PreCure powers back again or something after the threat returns. That'd be pretty cool.
I like that.
Now, as for me, there's two characters that I love and adore with all my heart, and I absolutely just need to see them interact with each other, and I mean, I think we're going to see them interact with each other maybe in the next upcoming crossover movie. They've stopped doing every single season, now they've limited to like the last 3, but just give me Kurara from Go Princess interacting with Hinata from Healin' Good. Because those two girls were the best girls from their series. They're both the yellow Cure of their team. They're both fashionistas. They both kind of got like a little bit of cockiness to them. So they should hang out. They should go to like some fashion industry thing. And you could even get Erica in there. And you could even get Mirai there from Witchy. I really like her character. Maybe she's decided that she wants to like try out acting or something for a summer. And so maybe she gets mixed in.
The Heart Catch movie where there's a werewolf in Paris for some reason.
Yes.
But add the other Cures. The best part about the Kirara-Hinata combo is that Kirara is actually really smart and Hinata's pretty stupid.
Hey, she's not stupid. She just has ADHD, untreated and undiagnosed.
Listen, I identify very strongly with Hinata, right? I feel those vibes. When I say she's stupid, that's not meant to be derogatory. Mm-hmm. The girl has no brain cells, and that's cool. Neither do I. But what I'm saying is, Kirara would absolutely be the big sister, like, flicking her in the forehead and being like, you're a doofus. Yeah, and that would be a super cute, fun interaction to have.
I would love that. And again, if you throw Erica in there, who has more aspirations, I guess Kirara did design her own clothes, but I would like to see them kind of relying on this gremlin girl to come out with an even, like, more beautiful and spectacular dress or that sort of thing.
Or you could even have it be, Heartcatch was a couple of seasons before Princess, so you could have Erica be an adult fashion designer.
Oh,
like,
sure.
she achieved her dream, and Kirara is modeling her clothes, and then they both turn into PreCure to fight a monster, and they're like, you? Spider-Man pointing.
I love it. One last really quick thought. Kirara would love Nia Torin.
Absolutely, yes.
So I just imagine Nia Torn just, like, being seized by this, like, taller, older woman and just being like, he's so cute, and, like, rubbing against him. He's just like, ah!
Oh, I love it. Really quick, when I saw your note on the docket, the what crossover would you like to see? I really thought it was going to be like our typical crossover question that we've addressed a couple of times with One Piece characters. Like, what about the One Piece characters in the Pokemon world? And the first thing to come to mind was PreCure crossing over with Sentai. Not only because they're basically the same thing, but also because they did a Kira Major dancing to the Star Twinkle opening video,
Yes.
and it was the best, and he called Hikaru senpai.
Yes.
And I loved it so much. I need more of that in my life.
Absolutely. And if I ever ask a discussion question and you think that I was going to ask a just slightly different question, maybe you could write it down. We could discuss it in another episode. But now we can't because you've already given your answer. So,
Oh, boo. That's okay. I'll come up with an
You'll have to come up with a second one, and of course it will be Kingdom Hearts, in which case you have Mickey talking about, oh, we've got to cure the darkness out of their heart. They're trapped in a cage of despair. Oh.
All right.
Looks like Erica got Norted. Oh no! Oh,
You could never Nort Erica. If anyone was going to get Norted, it would be Sabomi, and you know it.
Yuri probably.
Yuri could get
Yuri
Norted.
could fit the Riku vibe very, very easily.
Yuri got Norted, and then they unnorted her, and now she's, like, fighting for the side of good. Joel, this week I have bad news and I have good news. Would you like the bad news or the good news first?
It sounds like you want me to ask about the bad news first, so yeah, go ahead.
The bad news is we're doofuses, and we forgot to watch our episode of Futari wa PreCure for the week.
That is true.
But we'll watch 2 next week. It'll all be fine. The good news is...
Oh.
Viva
Free chocolate?
Spark...
Oh, no, okay, sorry, what? There's no free chocolate on this episode of
Not
Cure
this
Papaya?
time, but you will get a chocolate if you successfully finish recording without saying a swear. The good news is that Viva Spark Tropical Rouge PreCure still slaps super hard.
We give thanks to Viva Spark Tropical Rouge PreCure. It is right to give thanks to Viva Spark Tropical Rouge PreCure. Did I get the wording right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
You forgot and praise after thanks, but you were close enough. So yeah, still liking this opening a lot. One thing that I realized, and I think I realized this a couple seasons ago, but I might not have realized it until watching Healin' Good, but they always leave a space in the opening to stick in that mid-season cure.
Yes.
So she can be a part of the opening. And so I've been kind of looking out for it, and I actually haven't seen a spot where a new woman could fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's interesting. I'm curious to see if we'll get like the coveted second opening. The only season I've watched that's done that so far is Witchy PreCure, and they didn't even really do a new opening, they just changed the words to the opening they had.
Yeah, I think I read on the wiki when I was looking at something else that they usually use the same song, but they re-record it or something, but there was one season where the second version was just the extended cut or something, or like a different verse, but yeah, I don't think that they usually change the song, but they do change the visuals usually, so...
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of how we're feeling on that. Joel, as the co-host, would you like to give a succinct summary of this episode?
Does the co-host mean that you're the cure and I'm the fairy? Am I the one, did we meet and I gave you powers, or did you give me powers?
I think I gave you power. I gave you the power to podcast. Your mic is your henshin item.
All right, let's henshin. So, this episode, Manatsu goes on, I guess you'd call it a date, not a romantic one, but she goes out with some friends from school, including Sango, the purple-haired girl that we met in the previous episode, and 3 girls who we didn't write down their names. I like to believe that these are the Heathers of the PreCure universe. They're all named Heather, and they might have slight meanness, but by PreCure standards, so, not really that mean at all. We find out that Sango's main character trait is that she is kind. She's the type of person who would give up her ice cream to a small child who discovered that their favorite flavor was out at the local ice cream store. She helps return people's, wallets that they dropped and that sort of thing. She's very helpful. But this also kind of comes at a cost. She doesn't really seem to stick up for her own beliefs, like these 3 girls, the Heathers, as I call them, if they say, like, oh, this fish is kind of ugly, even if Sango thinks that that fish is cute, she'll be like, yeah, I guess it's ugly. And when she orders, she just kind of orders whatever they want. And so Sango eventually meets Laura because she got separated from the others at the aquarium. She's like, wow, it's a cute mermaid. Laura eats that up with a spoon. She loves the attention.
She goes, do you want to be a PreCure? Just on the basis of someone calling her cute.
Yes. The compact does not... It is a compact, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask that every single time. The compact doesn't react to Sango, but then the next day, Sango and Manatsu are talking, and Sango tells the story of when she was in kindergarten. She was the only one who picked a purple flower bud for a tulip planting project, and she later regretted not fitting in with everyone else. And Laura butts in to say, like, just believe in your own cuteness. Which is really strange because she kind of butts in this conversation in the middle of the schoolyard, and now I think people know that Manatsu has a talking, like, phone app or something. But, yeah, Manatsu and Laura are like, yeah, just believe in yourself. And when the monster shows up and Manatsu goes to fight it, Sango decides, I'm going to fight too. She now has the bravery to stick up for what she believes. She wants to be a PreCure, and Cure Coral is born.
And she's so cute.
She is very cute, and I love her transformation. We'll have to talk about that in just a second. But as far as the plot element goes, that has been your succinct summary.
That was a very well done succinct summary. 3 succincts out of 4.
Oh, sweet. Thank you. May I have a chocolate now? I don't know what this joke is, but damn it, we're going to keep doing it.
End of recording. You get a chocolate at the end of the recording session. Did you like this episode?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was an interesting take on Sango's character. We didn't know pretty much anything about her last episode, so I just had no idea what her arc was going to be, but no, she's really kind, and she's a little soft-spoken, and oftentimes someone who does try that hard to be kind would have a hard time standing up for themselves because they might feel that that's not the kind thing to do.
Yeah, well, and we talked about this last episode a little bit, but this season really seems to be about going after what you want, and so there's the element of, like, don't procrastinate, but also Sango can't get what she wants because she's too busy trying to do what everybody else wants. And so I like that kind of ties into the overall themes of the show.
In short, this episode was inspired by the Spice Girls. Sango just needed to tell us what she wanted, what she really, really wanted. She wanted a ha, oh, and a ha, oh, and a ha, da, ha, da, ha, da, ha, da, ha, da, ha, da, ha.
I also think that this is a good message for young girls.
Yeah.
Who are very susceptible to peer pressure, which starts around the age that I would say PreCure is targeted at, 3rd grade to middle school.
Right.
That kind of age range is when your sense of identity in a group starts to develop. Like, who are you as a member of a group? And so a lot of girls kind of end up going the Sango route and just kind of going along with stuff because their friends are doing it. And learning to embrace your own sense of self is a really key part of development. So.
Yeah, I like it. Well, and so PreCure does typically seem to focus on, like, traditional femininity, which is, the producer's prerogative. But I do think that they try to highlight different versions of femininity. Like, as we talked about, the original 2, Cure White and Cure Black, one was like a science kind of geeky girl, and one of them was a sports player kind of tomboyish. So having Sango decide for herself what her own cuteness is fits into the idea that, maybe you're a little girl or a little boy who likes country music, and everyone else is like, oh, country sucks, we like rock music. Like, believe in yourself, country girl, become a cowboy hat wearing PreCure or whatever.
When I was a little girl, what I thought was cuter than anything in the world was spiders.
Okay.
And you can imagine how that went over with my peers.
Yeah.
And I was just neurodivergent enough that I did not notice, but I didn't have many friends outside of my jars and jars of spiders.
Jars and jars. Are you a mad scientist, perhaps? Or like a necromancer? Are you a witch? Legally, you have to tell me.
None of the spiders were dead. I found them in the basement and I put them in jars. That's what you do when you find spiders.
Oh boy, okay, yeah.
It's actually really cool, not to go off on too much of a tangent. The spiders that I found in our basement were funnel spiders, so if you put them in a jar, they build a funnel-shaped web up to the mouth of the jar, and then they live at the bottom, and you can throw in bugs, and they'll come up and grab them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of like a reverse ant lion, kind of, right? Don't they have the pits that are cones and they go down? Okay.
They do, yeah. going back to PreCure, you wanted to touch on Sango's transformation sequence.
Yes. So one thing I will say, if I had like one minor critique of this episode, I thought that maybe the different PreCure girls were going to have some kind of special connection to their part of the face.
Their makeup?
Yeah, their makeup. Because Manatsu in her first episode, she had the lipstick for courage, and then her final item in the transformation was lips, and, you know, her attack was a piece of lipstick or whatever, and she kind of like blew a kiss that turns into a giant heart that then turns into a sun. So I thought that maybe Sango was going to have something with, is it blush that you put on your cheeks?
Mm-hmm.
So I assume that maybe at the beginning of the episode, she's at her mom's store, and they're like, oh, we got new makeup. But it was lipstick again, which is fine, but I just kind of had assumed that maybe there would be an emotional attachment between each of the girls and their makeup.
Yeah, I think that would have been cool, especially since Manatsu could have had a moment where she was like, Sango, you gotta believe in you're cute. Use this lipstick and get strength from makeup. And Sango could have been like, no thanks, I prefer blush.
Yeah.
And that would have been a chance for her to embrace her own cute. At the same time, I do think that her blow a kiss attack was kind of cool.
It was. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's a very small nitpick, and it's more like I expected something and didn't get it, but there's no reason that I should have expected that. And who knows, maybe after we've met the main cures, the four we see in the opening, maybe they'll have an arc that's more about each of them finding their individuality. That a lot of other seasons do that, but it's usually later, after we've gotten to know them a little bit better. She does a little bit of like a, I guess you'd call it a skip at the end of her transformation across a,
like a pond.
Yeah, surface of water is the word I was looking for. And when she transforms, she does this kind of like, she like rubs her own cheeks,
She covers her eyes.
Oh, that's the one.
Like,
yeah. So yeah, she's just a really cute character, and I would not have expected that. Usually I am not one for the shy, quiet, Fluttershy types. Those usually aren't my favorite, but no, she's very cute. And she has the hat. The most important thing is the hat.
You need to have head or facial accessories.
Yes.
That's just, it's vital to good character design. That's why eye patch characters slap so hard. Could we have a PreCure with an eye patch, or is that too dark, do you think?
I think that, well, so I don't think that you could have a character who loses an eye. Absolutely not. But you could have it implied. You could have a character show up with an eye patch that, like a fairy could have an eye patch, and they'd be like, oh, long ago there was a war between the candy canes and the cavities were bad, and that's when I lost my eye. But you could also have a character potentially with maybe like a disability, like maybe they were born with a defect in their right eye or something, right? I'm trying to give this topic as much delicacy as it deserves, but you could have a disabled cure, in which case, yeah, I think that their PreCure would have an eye patch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and I know a lot of people have been asking for more diversity in skin tone in PreCure.
Please.
And if you don't agree, if you think that PreCure is fine the way it is, you know, that's your opinion. I personally really liked Elena's design. And I think that when you can play with skin tones, you can play with palette choices and get really cool character designs. So, you know, don't at me. If you have a different opinion, you can just have your different opinion.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to say was a lot of people have been asking for more diversity in skin tone. And I think that it would also be cool to have cures who have disabilities, right? Mm-hmm. Or other things like that. I think one of the strengths in shows aimed at children is a lot of the times they try to promote cultures of acceptance and understanding and empathy.
For sure. Yeah.
And so in a show for an adult, you might not include something like that because you might be like, well, I don't want to come off as pandering, or I don't want to be insensitive, so I'm going to skip it. But in a show for kids, you have a lot of freedom to be like, there are all kinds of people in the world. All of them are cool.
Yeah, one, I think there is a risk of, if you do something like that, you might turn some people off because they might be like, oh, PreCure's gotten political all of a sudden. Or you might have, there's a chance that you might try to handle this kind of storyline delicately and maybe you upset someone. So I could understand the fear of people lashing out for either good reasons or maybe worse reasons. But I think that if all of the companies and all the producers decide that they're not going to take the risk, then you will never see it. And the more people do things like that, the more diverse casts you do see, the less aversive I think other people doing their projects will find it. They'll be like, well, this show didn't get yelled at for having a character with darker skin or whatever. Pick one of the 50,000 things that people advocate for.
So maybe we can try it.
We can try it, and maybe we won't get backlash, or maybe we can come up with another interesting story we can tell related to that in some way.
Absolutely. And once again, I just have to say, I really do believe that PreCure was founded on the idea that you don't have to be a traditional girl.
Yeah, you don't have to be like a doll that has come to life with the perfect golden blonde hair.
And tiny eyebrows. In Japan, it would be perfect black hair.
I guess that's true. You're right.
Yeah. But you don't have to be this perfectly feminine person to be pretty and a woman. And so expand that idea further. Going back to transformations really quick, we did see the different order for Cure Sango versus Cure Summer.
Yes.
So Cure Sango.
It took me a second for my brain to realize, like, that's not
I just had a really good idea. You could have a season themed around dance, and like one could be Cure Samba and one could be Cure Waltz. So
yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be cool. But I'm getting distracted. Cure Coral had a different order to her transformation than Cure Summer.
Right.
That was pretty cool. She also... Their personalities are expressed really well in their transformations.
Yes.
With Sango being kind of cutesy and like hiding her face and then being like, hello. But they say different things at the end of their transformations.
Yeah, that's right. So at the end of their transformation, Cure Summer says, joyful, everlasting summer. Cure Summer. And then Cure Coral is glittering jewels, Cure Coral. Which is interesting. I wouldn't necessarily associate jewels with coral, but again, there's room for her to like develop new powers or whatever.
Coral's the jewels of the ocean.
Okay, yeah, I believe it. The other thing too is after they do their attack in Healin' Good, it was the thing that made the bad guy go healin' goodbye. And in Heartcatch, it was the thing that made them go wah 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 wah. In this one, they have a little victory animation, and I screenshot both when Cure Summer had her first victory pose and when Sango had hers, and Summer is very like, yippee! Like she's jumping in the air with both of her legs off the ground. She has like one fist like raised above her head. But Cure Coral, she is holding the, I don't know what the name of the thing is, but the Rouge Tact, maybe. And she's holding it almost like she's selling like something on an infomercial, but she's got her eyes closed and her mouth is open and she's super excited as the explosion happens in the background.
The Heart Rouge Rod.
The Heart Rouge. See, I knew it had the word rouge in it, but I just got everything else wrong. But yeah, no, it's just their personalities once again are coming across in the different aspects of how their power works, like what their finishing move is, and what they say when they transform, and the order they transform in. It's beautiful character design. What
did you think of the Moko Moko Coral Diffusion, her final attack?
I personally was not a fan. It felt kind of alien-y because it's like this thing that's like branching and splitting across and kind of like tentacle-y, if I'm allowed to say that. But like, no, it's all right. But the giant sun is way cooler in my opinion.
Giant sun is definitely on brand for you, and branching coral is on brand for me. So yes. I loved it. I thought it was really cool. I also love that she can make a little X with her fingers, and it makes a shield.
Yeah, it creates a giant X.
So I didn't know this previously because, as we've mentioned, we're very slowly making our way through the series, and we didn't have a lot of contact with the greater PreCure community until recently. But there is a specific type of cure called a shield cure, and that's what they do. They make shields. And so someone was like, I wasn't expecting coral to be a shield cure, but that was really cool.
Oh my god. That's amazing. Do they have like a berserker class too? And like a shaman class? Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I have noticed that they have quite a few seasons where there's one character who is more long range, like an archer type. They had that for sure in Star Twinkle, so maybe that's what the yellow-haired girl is going to be next episode.
Oh, that'd be cool. We've seen her in the opening too, doing like homework really, really fast, yes. And she's got the glasses that she pushes up and the light shines off of them. So it would be cool if her thing was like analytics. She can look at a fight and be like, kick him there. And then Summer does it, and the guy just collapses.
And I was like, wow, how could you figure it out? Meanwhile, there's like a giant sign that says like weakness here with an arrow. And the yellow-haired girl is just like, I don't know, Summer just born smart, I guess.
The yellow girl is like, I can read. And Summer goes, you can read? I never learned how.
Oh my gosh. So I think that you were excited to unveil a new section of the podcast?
Yes. The new segment. Laura is a nasty little princess corner.
Okay.
So in this episode, we already indicated in the last episode, which was kind of, the Laura and Manatsu hour, that Laura seems jealous of Manatsu making other friends and spending time with people who's not her. Laura is a character who wants a lot of attention. She wants to be told how pretty she is all the time. So Manatsu says, I'm going to go shopping with my friends. And Laura says, fine, I guess. And Manatsu says, do you want to come? And Laura's like, why would I want to come with you? I'm going to rest. And Manatsu's like, okay, bye. And then Laura tries to be like, actually, if you insist, but Manatsu's already gone.
Yeah.
And so Laura pouts about it. She goes to the aquarium and splashes around the pool. And I love her.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, that's when she meets Sango, and Sango's just like, wow, a mermaid is so cute. And she just loves it. She's like, oh yeah, tell me more. And Sango's just like, so cute. She's like, yes, more.
Laura, I love you. My other favorite Laura moment from this episode was Manatsu's like, can you promise to be good, Laura? And Laura cannot.
Yeah. It's so good. I wonder, so again, like I said, I think that the main relationship, not necessarily romantic, but probably with some romantic subtext, is going to be between Manatsu and Laura. And I think that what's going to happen is Laura is not very good at expressing her true feelings. She's like, oh, why would I want to go with you, when really she wants to be invited or whatever. And I think that maybe she's going to have a moment where she has to openly and outwardly explain to Manatsu, like, you are my friend, I really like you, instead of treating her like a servant. And Manatsu is so happy-go-lucky that it doesn't really affect her, but I could see it coming to a slight head, like the PreCure version of coming to conflict and drama.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, the best season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Had something like that where the main character had like a dual spirit, and this dual spirit was so pure it didn't understand like what lying was, and then he ended up telling a little white lie, and it ended up causing this rift. And so I could see something like that happening with Manatsu and Laura, again, with Laura just not realizing how she sounds when she acts the way she does.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it will be interesting to see how the other Cures interact with Laura, because at least one of them has to not put up with her nonsense.
It's gotta be the older classmate. It's gotta be Flamingo, whatever her name is.
It probably will be Flamingo, and that will probably be delightful. And the other girls will probably gush over how incredible Flamingo is, because she's, like, super strong and cool. And Laura will be jealous because she's a baby.
I like to imagine Flamingo and Laura actually get into like competitions to see who can swim faster or something. That might be.
Imagine it shows them all kind of fawning over Flamingo, and then it cuts away to Laura, and she's trying to lift like tiny weights, but she can't even do it.
Oh man, that would be pretty good.
Do you have any predictions for the next couple episodes?
We really haven't been getting much. We got Crab Guy again instead of the next person, who is that kind of like sea cucumber lady, I think she is. But it seems like we're going to meet the yellow-haired girl, the Cure Papaya, and hopefully we meet another general, and hopefully it's not just the Crab Guy again. But I'm wondering if it's going to turn out that Sango and Manatsu aren't great at school. I think Sango will do better than Manatsu, but maybe they need help studying for something, and that's where they're going to meet Papaya. Or maybe they join the same club, and that's how they meet Papaya. But she's got to be introduced, and we have no hints as to when she's going to show up.
I'm wondering if we'll get kind of a breathing room episode in between each Cure introduction.
Okay.
So we got Sango this episode. Next episode might be her and Manatsu finally picking a club and then attending the club and maybe meeting Cure Papaya or whatever her street clothes name is. But maybe Cure Papaya won't become a Cure until episode 5.
Okay, sure. Absolutely. Like I said, there's not really much to go on. At this point, we don't even have, like, gather the 12 MacGuffins like you had in all the other shows that we watched. Not the first Cure, but most of the later PreCure seasons have, like, you need to get the 12 consolation pens or whatever. But that's all I have to say.
Cure didn't have 12 MacGuffins because it's the best season.
Keep your story straight, because I think I remember you saying that your favorite was definitely Healing Good. No, it was Go Princess.
Go Princess PreCure is my favorite, but I also really like Cure PreCure a la mode a lot. You never forget your first PreCure.
No, absolutely. Cure PreCure a la mode is such a good series with such an unbelievably long name that my Minecraft avatar looks like Cure Gelato.
Cure PreCure a la mode is a treatise on, and that has been your doot final thought. Outro goes here.
Keep up your Tropica shine, everyone. Ha-ha! What a great episode of King of the What Now, your One Piece podcast that started from the very beginning and stars these two doofuses. If you want to follow us on social media, Twitter is the best place to do that. I am at KOTWN_pod.
And I am at Pirate Ghost Host.
Absolutely, yes. We share all sorts of thoughts on there, some related to the podcast, some related to other things. But you can also reach us through email at KingOfTheWhatPod@gmail.com, or you can also find us on Patreon. We would love some subscribers or supporters, whatever the technical term is. Patrons. So fancy and grown up. And you can find that at patreon.com/KingOfTheWhatPod. You can find all sorts of things like bonus episodes, and you get to see the full cold open candidates, not just the ones that make it into the episode. Maybe someday if I learn to draw, I'll put stuff up there. We're always looking for suggestions and feedback. And speaking of which,
please take a moment to rate and review our podcast wherever you get us from. So iTunes, Spotify, Scrivener, that's for writing. But wherever you listen to our podcast, take a moment to leave a review. It helps other people find us. We are so grateful to all of our listeners, and we couldn't do this without you.
Absolutely. Word of mouth is super powerful, so if you have a friend who likes One Piece and they haven't heard of us, just direct them to the latest episode. And if they hate us, they can tell us why. And if there's an actionable item, we'll try to please you. That's how this works. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.